Hello everyone and welcome back to Pokémon FireRed. So we have obtained the final gym badge. We now have all 8 of them. And with all that being done, we can basically now challenge the... well, I guess what was the final challenge in the original game. It's not the end of the game anymore, but it used to be. Anyway. Did not want to go there. I've not done any sort of off-screen leveling or anything like that. But as you can see, my Pokemon are level 57 to 58. I believe the strongest enemy I will encounter is a level 63 Pokemon. And that's not for a while yet. So I'm thinking I might be strong enough. I might do one final big leveling push after I've done this, basically, to prepare for the end game. Probably have my Pokemon up to level 75 or so. But yeah, let's head right into the action. Look, it's Gary Oak. What? Strange. What a surprise to see you here. So you're going to the Pokemon League. You collected all the badges too? That's cool. Then I'll whip you, Strange, as a warm-up for the Pokemon League. Come on! The second to last battle against our rival. And he starts out with a level 47 Pidgeot. So we're still out-leveling him by quite a bit. That will change though. That level 63 Pokemon that we will encounter, which is the highest level Pokemon we will see in the Pokemon League, that will be his Blastoise. I did not check what he's going to put out. He's a Rhyhorn. Okay, that's fine. I think Ice Beam should be super effective. I also have my morning voice at the moment because, well, I got up about an hour ago. But I need to find time when I can record, so when I have the time I use it. Gyarados, I guess, against this Growlithe? Or Growlithe? Growlithe? Growlithe. Let's go with that. Which he will have evolved by the time we meet him again. But, yeah, we should encounter that. What we won't encounter is his Gyarados. And that's because I've chosen the Fire Starter, so he's got the Water Starter. If he doesn't have the Water Starter, so if you had chosen Bulbasaur or Squirtle as your starter, then he would actually be using a Gyarados. Execute. Let's go with Charizard. I actually had lots of options of what to use against this Execute. I've got flying attacks, ice attacks, fire attacks, and psychic attacks, all of which are effective against it, but Charizard needs to see some action. And that's that. And finally, the Pokemon that's possibly the most problematic, simply because I have nothing that's strong against it. I just don't have any grass types, any electric types. Just don't have them. So let's go with Gyarados and just Hyper Beam it. I'm not sure if this will kill it actually, it is fairly bulky. Yeah, definitely doesn't. Oh well. Gyarados must recharge, fine, let's let it do that. And just use the second Hyper Beam. And finally an Alakazam, or Alakazam. So let's see if Gengar is fast enough. Because if he gets a Psychic through, I am in trouble. But Shadow Ball might very well get the kill. Alakazam does not have good special defense, I have very good special attack. plus the stab bonus, plus the type bonus, I feel quite confident. What? I was just careless, you. That loosened me up. I'm ready for the Pokemon League. Strange, you need more practice. But hey, you know that. I'm out of here. Smell ya. Okay. I just quickly want to fly back home. Well, home. Not really Viridian City, I guess. Just to do some healing. Because if I remember correctly, we have a fairly lengthy, well, we have quite a lengthy dungeon ahead of us, so makes sense to be prepared. Level 57, so you go there. It's gonna be my dragon Pokemon for a while. And I know Gyarados and Charizard aren't technically dragons, but let's face it, they are. Okay. Yeah, that looks fine. Huh. I remembered that I have the bike. And I know there's bits and pieces all over the map that I haven't currently done, or haven't done yet. Actually... yeah, I'll do. I know what I'll do. This grass patch, obviously, because you can reach it very early in the game, is now entirely meaningless for me. Because there's not much point fighting level 4 Mankeys. What I'll do is I'll show you basically the way into. Okay, we've got the boulder badge. I'll show you the way into the, or up to the dungeon, I guess. I have the cascade badge. I don't know why they didn't change this from the original game, but you go past these trainers, and well, they're not trainers, they're sort of guards, and they individually check every single badge. So we've got the Thunder badge. Rainbow badge, I think that's for the grass gem. Then we need Surf. Soul badge would be the Psychic gem. And there are wild encounters here. These are obviously slightly more powerful, but again, level 22 Psyduck. Hardly worth the effort. Especially since I've already caught one, so it's already in my Pokédex. Okay, Marsh badge. We have that as well. That was for the Poison Gym, I wouldn't say. I might be wrong. And level 32 Mankey, actually. I will kill this, even though it's probably not going to give me much. And this isn't really a place where I'll do much leveling. There is a better spot later on. Okay. Volcano badge, that's obviously the fire gym. And is this a secret? Oh, it is. You may sometimes have seen me just randomly walking up to a rock and finding an item. I don't know where the secret items are. I walked past just as many as I found, I'm sure. But some of them are just fairly obvious. If you've got a single rock which is kind of standing out of formation, which is just by itself, then quite often secrets are hidden there, or dead ends in the path which seem a little suspicious. Very often you just find secret items there. You can pass here only if you have the Earth badge. We do. Final gym. And this is Victory Road, but I won't actually go in there yet. I decided that I'll do something else first and then do Victory Road next episode and hopefully get it all in one episode. So we should be able to fly away from here using Articuno. And we will actually fly to up here, to the Rock Tunnel Poké Center. And I still have my coffee, by the way, so that's how early it is. I know it's some kind of bad style to eat or drink while recording, and I definitely won't ever eat while recording, but drinking while recording I definitely do. I don't know, my voice is not that steady these days. It tends to give out a bit, so I do like to have a drink close at hand. For those occasions when my voice tries to thwart me. So yeah, we could get to this place basically as soon as we were able to use Surf outside of battle. But there wasn't really much of a reason for me to go there yet, but since I showed you Articuno and I showed you Moltres, might as well show you this place. And what do you have? Wow, you came all the way here? Maybe you're a Pokemaniac too. Want to see my collection? No, I guess I'll smash your collection. Starting out with a Rhyhorn. It's obviously quite bad. I have nothing that's good against that, so... Actually, I have nothing that's good against that. Let's see how much a Flamethrower does anyway. Still gets the kill. I think Rhyhorn is Ground Rock, so that might have been a half damage or maybe even a quarter damage attack. Licky Tongue. I would have changed for Licky Tongue. The female's favorite Pokemon. And another Flamethrower should suffice. And we defeated Pokemania Mark. And this is the old power plant, or I'm not sure if it's old, but it's definitely deserted and no longer functional. It's in a bad state of repair. Inside here we find some items, but also some Pokeballs that aren't actually items, but actually... well, two actuallys. But we also find some Pokeballs that aren't items, but... these electric Pokemon that sort of look like Pokeballs. I don't remember what they're called anymore. Sonic Boom always does exactly 20 damage. Let's see how much my leftovers heal me for. Oh, 10, that's okay. Magnemite being a steel type, just I hate it. And where we're trying to go is up there. You can already kind of see it on screen. That's the third legendary bird Pokemon. And in here, as you can also tell, yeah, this Voltorb and its evolution, they often camouflage as items. Wing attack, probably not very effective, but should still get the kill. Yeah. No, I think... actually, I think I can use the... I can use the running shoes in here. Probably not the bike, but who cares? Super effective. Yeah, I can use the running shoes. Okay, let's go back here. It's a fairly small dungeon and fairly linear, but I wanted to show it to you anyway because of the bird that we get. And a Pikachu. Good night. You can, as I've shown you in this LP, you can get them in the forest much earlier on, but if you don't feel like that, I believe they're much more common here, and obviously also at a higher level. But I think Pikachu is definitely the earliest you can get an electric type. So I would, well, in all my playthroughs, I would always get one in Viridian Forest. You might have different preferences, of course, but it's just nice to have an electric type, especially against Misty, if your starter is Charmander, just like mine. It's just nice to have an electric type for that gym. And lots of people seem to like Pikachu. I mean, I know it's a strong Pokemon, I never quite liked its looks, but if you're into it, I would suggest getting it much earlier than here. And an elixir, nice. And I may have sort of misspoken once when I explained what elixirs and such do. So, elixir is not a healing item as such. It doesn't heal, it restores PP. And the way it works is an ether affects one move and restores, I think, 5 PP. A max ether, I think, affects one move and restores all PP. An elixir affects all moves and restores 5 PP, and I think a max elixir restores 10 PP to all moves, or something like that. But none of these items heal HP as well, which I somehow thought it did. I had somehow got into my mind that an elixir is basically a full Pokecenter treatment, but it's not. And I'm not sure if the elixir even heals all PP to full, or if it's just more restoration than a normal elixir. Yeah, more the max elixir obviously does more than the normal. I just don't know if it's a full restore. I guess I could check, but meh. It's not like it really matters that much. And I guess there really isn't much else to say about this dungeon. Oh, you paralyzed me. I don't know, I find that a little annoying that the paralyze can still hit me even after I've defeated the enemy, because I did an attack that that can cause paralyzation because it's a contact attack. Basically means I touch the enemy and the enemy's static means I might get paralyzed. It's just what these guys have for their special ability. But nah, Magnemite. But something like my leftovers, if the fight only lasts one turn, my leftovers don't trigger. So, I don't know. I would have thought that it would... Well, I would have liked if the leftovers triggered after a fight, sort of in the final turn as well, just like these static and such attacks. Just one of those little issues I have. And I know I complain, or... complain's probably the wrong word, but... I sometimes make negative comments about games, even games that I LP, well, largely I guess games that I LP, but it's not a case of hating on games. If I hated the game, I wouldn't LP it at all. It's just a case of when I play them I notice issues that they have and I point them out. I believe an LP should not just be a very long positive review, I guess. And this is not a Pokeball, as you can see. So yeah, I mean, I know once you become quite a big LPer, and you might very well be pressured by games companies to say good things about their games or else. But I'm not at that point, nowhere near. So, yay, level 58. So I can totally speak my mind about things, and when I complain about a game, that's not a sign of how much I dislike it, that's a sign of how much I like it, because I think the game is basically... it's worth it to be improved. So this is obviously not like the game developers don't watch my videos. They don't look at what I do and say, oh yeah, he's right, we should change that, or no, we shouldn't change that, we'll leave it as it is. They obviously don't. This doesn't reach them, but it's, think of it like, say, the Honest Trailers guys on YouTube, which basically, whenever they make a trailer about a movie, which they call an honest trailer, they point out the flaws and mistakes and idiotic aspects of movies. But very often, that's not because they hate the movie. And most people who criticize heavily... Rock Smash should not do much because it's such a weak attack. Well, still gets the kill. Yeah, people who criticize games heavily, or criticize any medium heavily, are often people who really enjoy the medium. Now, this doesn't apply obviously to sort of broad sweeping video games are all crap people. Like, you get those, especially, you know, mainstream media, and I guess older people tend to have that issue as well, or I guess middle-aged people. Older ones tend to be much more okay in my experience, but just, there's obviously those people who say, oh, if you're a gamer, you're basically planning to go on a killing spree, and you're all violent and evil and dumb and smelly and uncivilized, and, well, you know all the stereotypes anyway. If you're watching me, you probably are a gamer yourself. Or at least well, probably someone who has at one point or another been referred to as a nerd or a geek. That's just possible. Anyway, there's obviously those broad sweeping quote-unquote criticisms, but they're obviously not what I'm referring to. Let's see what Dragon does against Steel. Not much. Oh, you paralyzed me, that sucks. But those who sort of criticize more specifically, like independent game reviewers, for example, and I really do mean independent, because otherwise there's lots of pressure on you to just say good things. They're not saying bad things about games because they hate games or because they hate one specific game. If you really like a medium, then sort of the well-being of that medium is at your heart. For example, if you really like video games, you want good video games to come out. And if you just swallow everything that the video game industry throws at you, then that's not going to produce good games. Instead, you have to say what you like, but you also have to be very sure to say what you dislike. If there's something wrong with the game, you should point it out. Especially if you have achieved some kind of fame, so that someone actually listens to your opinion. But even if not, you should be able to criticize something even if you really like it. So that's quite often the case, and that's the case with me as well. That's why I seem to sometimes really complain about games, but really it's just a sign of really me liking the game. Or at least liking it enough to care enough to want it to be improved. And yeah, as I said, I can do that because I'm ridiculously independent. I have no YouTube partnership, no income from ads, and nothing like that, so I can complain all I like, and there are no negative consequences for me. Sadly, that's not really the case in sort of a lot of mainstream gaming related news and such. I had a friend once, we sort of met in an MMO long ago, talking almost 10 years now, and he was still going to school then, and he's a little older than me, but we kept in touch. It's just one of those beautiful things when you meet people in an MMO. You just kind of play the game together for extended periods of time. You grow up together, you grow older together, and you sort of... It's just like a real-life friendship where you slowly watch all these people and also yourself getting older. Just you live your life together, even though you've never actually met, basically. And the thing is, he eventually, I think he studied journalism or something, but he didn't finish it. Something along those lines. It's a specific German course, I don't know the exact equivalent in English, but let's just say he studied journalism anyway. And so, but it just turned out that it really wasn't for him. And so he got a job at a game magazine, which was fairly small at the time, probably maybe 12 or so people in it, working for it. And he was really, really happy. Oh, Electabuzz. It's kind of semi-rare in this place. If this doesn't kill it, I might try to catch it, but... Huh. Thunder Punch should not be doing that much, yeah. Dragonite is part flying, so that's why these attacks are normal. But it's also part dragon, and electric and fire and water, I believe, attacks are not effective against dragons, so they actually do less damage. So it cancels out. My flying type is weak against electric, my dragon type is strong against it. On average, it's just normal damage. I have 90 Ultra Balls, I can afford to throw one. And so yeah, at first it was just really happy, and the magazine was actually doing quite well. It was sort of a small one, mostly distributed via a small stall they'd set up at the university. Well, not they had set it up, and someone else had set it up and they were selling there. I'll throw maybe 10 balls. If that doesn't work, I'll just kill it. But yeah, he was really quite happy and they were doing well, so they started becoming bigger and somewhat more important, and you know, started actually supplying more than just one university stall with their magazine. Well, it was more than that in the beginning anyway, but it was fairly limited to one city, and they were kind of growing out. And anyway, he basically did game reviews for that magazine. I think they released it twice a month, something like every 2 weeks. Anyway, he did game reviews, so he basically would get games that had just been released, he'd play them. It was pretty sort of like in a diary style. He wrote those things. Like he would write the first quarter of the article, having sort of just been in the main menu stuff. Then he'd just go on after an hour of gameplay, and then after 2 hours, and another after 5 hours, something like that anyway. So it's kind of like a diary, you know, slowly seeing the game and writing what he felt about it. Anyway, being a very small magazine, they obviously... He just had to wait for the games to be released. But as they grew in importance and sort of fame, they started getting pre-release copies. At first it was just like you get this game 2 days before release, and so you have your article ready for release, stuff like that. And he just kept going. But more and more, these sort of pre-release things apparently just came with conditions attached. Oh, that's perfect. Electabuzz was caught. So basically not really the game developers as much as the game publishers, they demanded better reviews. So it starts off really subtle, like, we expect this game will be to your liking, which is kind of a fairly subtle hint that they want a good review. But yeah, he was getting more and more fed up with that, because it was getting on his nerves that they were sort of more and more pushing him to say specific things about the games. And eventually I think he got a... I'm not going to mention which game because I don't remember precisely, and I don't want to sort of say something negative about a game developer and then it's actually a different one, or a game publisher. It's not the developers themselves in this case, but he got a pre-release version of a fairly big game about a week before release, and he was straight up told that he was going to give it 8.5 out of 10 points. And if it was going to get anything less, he was not going to get another preview version from that developer, or from that publisher anyway. And yeah, at that point he quit. I'm going backwards, aren't I? And he's now working for a sort of local newspaper, just doing actual general journalism stuff. I think he's happier in that job because he's not so involved with it emotionally. It's just a job. So beforehand, I guess it was he tried to make his passion his job, and I guess his experiences at least were somewhat negative. Now I can't say that this is a general thing. I know there's one guy who's had stuff like that happen to him. It might well be that he just got unlucky. But it seems to be a general trend that even when a really bad game is released, the sort of gaming magazines all try to write positive things about it anyway. Now it might just be me being a cynic, but it feels like a lot of gaming magazines and such are under this kind of pressure where they are pressured into writing better reviews than they actually feel are appropriate. And that's because obviously if you're sort of working at a big magazine, then, well, you make your money, or at least part of the appeal of buying these magazines is that you get exclusive information. That's what people want. They want to know about the game before it's been released, and also it really helps if no other gaming magazine is able to give you any information about that game. So, I don't know, let's say the new Diablo 3... It's an example, okay? It's not actually the case with Diablo 3, but let's just say the new Diablo 3 expansion comes out, and 2 weeks before, exactly one gaming magazine basically reveals the final boss or whatever. And no one else knows about it. That gaming magazine is going to get good sales, because everyone wants to know what the final boss is. Again, this is an example I completely invented here, but because no one else has that information, it's good for their sales, so they make more money. And obviously they've got employees and, you know, shareholders possibly if they're a big enough company, even though I think that's rare, but oh, should have saved the game, shouldn't I? I'll actually possibly use save states here, I don't know. Yeah, let's do that. I will... what was it? Control Shift F1? Just Control F1? Nope. Well, that's what you get. I accidentally hit the wrong key combination. You see, that's what you get for trying to cheat. It basically loaded a really old save file that I'd made using the emulator. I save both using the in-game feature and the emulator save feature, just so that I've got two save games, which makes it less likely that they're both corrupted and all that sort of stuff. As you can see, because I hadn't saved in a while, I'm now back at my rival fight. I'll take you with me again once I'm back at the power plant, facing the final legendary bird. So yeah, sorry about that, but at least it didn't. I tried to cheat, I guess, but it didn't work. This is exactly where I would have ended up if I just loaded my most recent save. So anyway, see you in a bit. Okay, and there we go again. Sorry about that. So forgot to save, then thought I might cheat, but yeah, didn't remember the correct key combination. It's Shift F1, by the way, not Control F1. Anyway, I now did save, so let's attack this Zapdos, which is the final legendary bird, and it's the electric one. So I'm guessing none of my checks are gonna be very strong. Ow. Oh, Drill Pack. Drill Pack is really powerful. Doesn't have any special effects or anything, but it's just... oh, protected itself. Nice. It just does a lot of damage because it has a pretty nice attack. So I fear that if I change over to Gengar, Gengar will just get obliterated, but we'll see. Thunderwave just paralyzes, that's okay, I guess. I think that's a 1 in 4 chance that I'm that I can't use my move because I'm paralyzed. I think first things first, I will cure the paralysis. Not sure if that's really a good idea because it can reapply it so easily, but let's just do it. And then, oh yeah, I actually did find another Electabuzz while running through this place. This time it only took 1 Ultra Ball to catch it, so that's nice. And let's see how much this Zapdos will require. Wow, it's pretty good. Detect doesn't really do much. Definitely want Hypnosis. Ah, you dirty bird. Obviously it misses. Ouch. This will do a fair amount of damage. 60. I do have leftovers, so let's hope. Wow, getting unlucky here. I'm pretty sure paralysis rather, is a 1 in 4 chance that you are unable to use your move. Doesn't seem like it right now, though. Oh well. At least we're healing. Okay. It's a bit annoying. It did not sleep for a long time. That first time I actually did manage to put it to sleep. I think it only lasted 2 turns, so that's not very good. And I'm being really unlucky at the moment. But yeah. Wow. Ridiculously unlucky, actually. That sucks. Okay, he's actually trying to kill me now. So let's go for a... I should have some full restores, I'll just use those, I'll be able to buy them eventually anyway. At least I believe I am. It would be a bit annoying now if I weren't. But yeah, I got really unlucky on the RNG this fight. Let's hope it gets a little bit better now. And yeah, Hypnosis doesn't have the best hit rate, but I think I missed 3 times in a row with it now. And I also got paralyzed, and that affected me 3 times in a row, which is pretty unlikely. So yeah, just generally not a good fight so far. I mean, the first Ultra Ball almost got it, which is cool. I've never yet gotten one of those legendaries in the first ball, unless I used the Master Ball, of course, which, well, that's not really an achievement. I know that a friend of mine, or I guess let's call him an old schoolmate, friend might be reaching a little far. I've seen him use get I think a Lugia with his first ball in the 2nd generation of games. But that's the only first ball legendary I've ever seen. I know it's just a question of, you know, getting lucky. And if I used save states, I could obviously just always load save states and then wait until the first ball succeeded, but that obviously wouldn't really count as a first ball catch. Okay, at least this time Hypnosis got through quite quickly, that's nice. I'm not going to cure the paralysis, I want to use the turns that it is asleep to just chuck balls at it. I think its only damaging move appears to be Drill Peck. And I know how much damage that does. Even if it crits, it can't one-hit me, so especially with the leftovers, I can afford to just heal the paralysis whenever I like, even when the Zapdos is awake. And so far, it seems like I'm getting more ball bounces than on than I got on Moltres, but I'm not sure. I don't know how exactly the mechanic works. If getting more bounces actually means it was closer. I mean, that's how the game makes it look, of course, but it might just be a case of it decides as you throw the ball whether it's going to be successful or not, and then it randomly decides how many ball bounces you get. I don't know. As I said, I don't know the mechanics precisely, so it should wake up by now. Yeah, there we go. Detect. That doesn't matter. Yeah, let's just Hypnosis. Oh, Drill Peck. Darn, I missed. Okay. No reason to stay on this guy. Let's go to something a little more tanky. Thinking Dragonite? I mean, it's pre-damaged a bit, but it should be okay. And I have no more moves that make it more likely that I succeed, so I'll just chuck balls at it. Sadly, because I'm recording these quite a bit in advance, again, I've got a holiday upcoming, so I just kind of want to have something saved up. I don't know what you said about the Moltres fight, whether you want me to cut those or not, so I'm just going to keep it on. Obviously, anyone who doesn't want to see it can, where's the Hyper Ball? Hyper Potion's lower, yeah. So yeah, anyone who's not interested in watching this fight, that's all that's gonna happen. I'm just gonna catch it. I know it's probably a pretty long episode by now, my timer has reset itself sadly, but yeah. If you don't want to watch this, I understand perfectly, and you can just go away. Which sounded quite hostile. If this is boring to you, just, I guess, keep watching at the beginning of next episode. I'm not going to do much apart from throwing Ultra Balls here. Okay, without it being asleep, I am getting a little less lucky. But sadly, I don't play this game in a very subtle way. I just kind of go for brute force, which is why all my Pokemon are so overleveled. I don't know, I just got in the habit of it as a kid, and it's very difficult to shake that, so I tend to bring very little sort of sneaky things like confusion, paralysis, sleep, all those things. I just don't use that very much. Which obviously comes back to bite me once I do stuff like this. Come on. Ah. Just because it would clearly be easier to catch this if it were paralyzed or asleep or anything like that. The problem is, of course, that the legendary birds all have the pressure ability, so I only get half as much use out of my moves as I would usually, which is a major pain. Actually, I'm going to use another potion now. I just realized that if he crits, he might one-hit me at that HP, and I don't want that to happen. I don't know if he still has PP left for Drill Peck anyway. If he does, it's not going to be many, but I just don't want to risk it, basically. I mean, not that it would matter much if Dragonite went down, but I don't know. And I believe it does not have any electric type moves at this point, or at least any damaging ones. So I could perfectly well put out Gyarados and I would not actually be in trouble. Even though Gyarados has a double weakness against electric. And Getting a lot of 3 bounces here, just failing on the last roll, I guess. And again, I don't know if the game sort of rolls your catch rate every time the ball bounces, or if it's just a random amount of bounces and it's already decided at the very beginning if it's gonna work or not. I don't know. It doesn't really make much of a difference anyway. I know the catch rate goes up as you throw more and more balls up to a point. There's a limit. It doesn't go up to 100%. It just, I don't know. It goes up to. I used to know all those things quite well, but quite frankly, I've since started studying math, so there's lots of different numbers that occupy my head now, which are sort of more important than catch rates of Pokemon. Which is, I guess, a bit sad, but oh well. There's very few people who are, I want to say lucky, but not always, but who are able to make a living of just gaming. And sometimes those people are lucky. But especially in Germany, there was some sort of the first wave of big LPers which started being able to make a living just doing YouTube. And then a whole new generation of LPers grew up, setting out with the specific goal of making money on YouTube. So all their content is specifically optimized to harness as many views and as many clicks as possible, which ultimately makes for, to my mind, very poor content. And because of the way YouTube works, they're not as much LPers as sort of vloggers, I guess. So they do some LPs, but it's always with a face cam, because that apparently gets you more views, and there's always the aspect of also wanting to, or maybe not wanting, but having to share their real life, because again, that gets you more views. And you just notice how fake and shallow all of that is, because they have to share sort of intimate stuff to get the attention that they require to be able to live off their ad revenue. But clearly a lot of that is fake, because they know when they tell an embarrassing story, even though you can clearly tell they made it up, they know that people will watch that and, you know, have a chuckle and think it's all real. And I don't know why people on YouTube seem to be so obsessed with knowing details about someone else's private life, but it seems to get you a lot of views. I don't get it, but it's what they do. But you can just tell, like they do a video showing, oh, this is my new girlfriend, which I don't know what self-respecting woman would allow someone else to do that. I mean, clearly being used as advertisement for someone else's YouTube channel. I wouldn't like that. Guess none of the women I've ever been with would have liked that. I think my current girlfriend would probably rip my head off if I tried something like that. But apparently well, I mean, obviously she's not really in love with him, she just wants his money, because, well, he's like 20, he's got a gigantic apartment in a sports car, which at that age gets you girls, like nothing else, pretty much. I mean, it's all very shallow, but the problem is just they rely on that as their only source of income, and a lot of them never had any kind of proper formal... Oh, I did not mean to use a wing attack. I think that might have been very stupid. Whew. Whew. Never been so happy to be paralyzed. It was just kind of an instinct. I meant to go back to my Pokeballs and throw more Ultra Balls, but oh well. But yeah, they're very much relying on the YouTube thing to continue. I mean, I guess some of them will be smart enough to save their money, and a lot of them are not actually that bad. There's a few examples of that, but many have still gotten some kind of university education or some job training, so they have a profession. They could, if the YouTube thing didn't work out, They could apply for a job. I mean, they've learned something. They could get a job. Maybe not a high-paying one, maybe not a really great one, but, you know, they wouldn't be unemployed forever. But there's also that type, which tend to be the fairly successful ones on YouTube now, which never did. They went straight from school to YouTube. Which, I mean, it's a valid career. You can make money of it. There's no reason why that would be sort of less valuable. The problem is, if ever it stops working, if something changes with YouTube, if too many people use adblock, or if you just get older and the 12-year-olds that are watching you are no longer wanting to watch you because you're 35 and no longer anywhere near their age group, then suddenly you're standing there, your YouTube thing, which was your income, is no longer working out, and you really don't have anything to fall back on. So you need to rely on the YouTube thing, which means you need to keep your views up. Which basically means prostituting yourself. And it also leads to, you know, anyone else in your life. Ooh, there we go, finally. Zapdos was caught. Sorry. I'm ranting here, but I find that such a stupid decision. I mean, if I could go professional with YouTube, if I somehow were famous enough that I would make enough money, I might do it as well, but never ever before finishing my formal education and, you know, having something to fall back on. It just seems so stupid, because it is a high-risk thing. It's not like it's a reliable job where you sort of have a contract or anything like that. Like, you can make good videos and continue making them, and eventually the hype will go away and suddenly, oh, no one wants to watch you anymore, you know? I mean, LPs might just almost die out and, you know, oh, everyone's just watching Twitch streamers now, and I don't know. It seems a very high-risk thing to do, and especially those sharing or oversharing from their own personal life. It's just incredibly shallow, and he's filming his new girlfriend. Like, oh, this is her, isn't she hot? Ha ha ha, look at my new girlfriend. Look how cool I am, I've got this girlfriend, ha ha. And just, she doesn't even look at him like she likes him. She just looks at him as a source of money. Anyway, Zapdos was caught, blah de blah. One of the legendary bird Pokemon. While it is flying, it makes crackling and snapping sounds. I do not want to give it a nickname. Okay, now we just go out this way. And that's that. So yeah, I know this was a bit boring and I was ranting towards the end there, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. And next time we'll meet each other before Victory Road. So I'll see you then. Bye bye.